Welcome into Joel Coliseum, gearing you up for the state title. 4A, Lake Norman, Wakefield. Two programs, the number 2 seeds in the East and the West coming in, both with big wins in the region finals. And here's what's cooking for these two programs. Wakefield Wolverines, led by Jason Lee, a Wakefield alum. Dynamic guard combination for their starting lineup. Your Tatum and Atkinson starting lineup, injured in a car wreck. Call the heavy hitters at Tatum and Atkinson. And these guards are heavy hitters for Wakefield tonight.
Yeah, Sidney Conti's an outstanding shooter. Bagwell, so versatile. Jay Hamilton's the leading scorer, and Madison McIntyre, the point guard, really good on the defensive end. And Ali Schaefer has NBA range from beyond the three-point line. Evan.
7 players on this roster are going to play college somewhere the next couple of years. It's impressive. And that's what Jason Lee has set up. He's a former collegiate player, also stood out at Wakefield back in his tenure. And think back to this class. As freshmen, they didn't make the playoffs. 3 years later, they're playing for a state title.
And Coach Lee's done an amazing job developing his players on the floor as well as off the floor. He loves this team and has such a close bond with his players, and they've just had an outstanding year, Evan.
Now the Tatum and Atkinson lineup for Lake Norman. The West champs have tremendous guard play as well with Addison and Conti, but the Sheehan sisters are so dynamic.
Yeah, they're really good. They have good height and they're athletic. They can shoot the ball inside the paint area as well as outside. And Sirianni had 7 assists in the regional final against McDowell.
Lake Norman's won 21 straight, rolling through 4A basketball. And Coach Mackenzie Graham, the Lake Norman alum, you see her organizing this huddle. Went to school at South Carolina, her 8th year with this staff. It's been a nice progressive route, and then a big win over McDowell to reach the state title.
Yeah, huge win, and they've been dominant this season, and we saw her in the state championship game 2 years ago, and with her squad, she develops her players, and they're playing their best right now at this point of the year. Talking with her pregame, very excited about this opportunity here at Wake Forest, along with Jason Lee. 2 great programs, their top 2 seeds. They've made it all the way to the state championship.
The highest level of basketball here on the girls' side of the state. 4A championship and a new champion crown. Neither program has brought home the trophy in their history. A busy day of high school hoops. We thank you for joining us here on this fantastic Saturday at Joel Coliseum. Wakefield and Lake Norman, their first ever meeting, and the winner gets a state trophy here in a couple hours. Lead official Melvania Robinson gets us set to go. And Lake Norman starts with the basketball. Early 3, and that's a bit short. That's an area Lake Norman wants to push tempo. They'll score 77 points a game.
And that was Kelsey Ryan being aggressive on that first possession, but they'll spread the floor to try to create driving lanes as well as give them opportunities behind the three-point line.
Coach Graham noted our press is our greatest factor. How does Wakefield handle that press today?
Well, it's all about being disciplined, making sure that you make direct, aggressive passes and hold on to the ball.
On cue, here's a steal for Lake Norman. They said, we don't want to play in the 20s. That's how Wakefield made this state final. Won 31-23, the lowest scoring regional final in 4A history. Wakefield, though, so good on this set. Elite guard play defensively. Look at the active defense here.
Extending their pressure, good communication on that end of the court.
A back cut and a missed layup for Bonaconti. Quick rebound, and Madison McIntyre pushing tempo. Nice ball movement, open 3. Still searching for our first bucket of the state final. And that pressure's nonstop from Jason Lee's defense. Beautiful outlet ball. Another missed layup. That was from Alexis Sheehan. And now a jump ball gives possession to Wakefield.
Both teams early on trying to get into a flow on their offense. But Evan, I expect this ball game to be difficult for these offensive players because of how good the defense is on each side, and Wakefield has boxed out well after these initial misses to get the boards.
Wakefield undefeated in its conference, 18 straight wins to reach the state final. It's a ball movement underneath. Nice touch for Hamilton, and the first points of the state final.
And McIntyre getting into the paint area, keeping her eyes up to find Hamilton.
Jaya Hamilton, who could play at any level. Coach said, Jason Lee, we love her ability at the guard position. And here for Lake Norman, this is Alexis Sheehan. A deep 3 is off for Kelsey Ryan. And a battle for the boards. Here's a reach-in foul. And our first whistle of the state title. That defensive rebounding will be huge for Wakefield today.
Yeah, not only do you have to play good defense, but when the shot is taken, you have to find a box-out opportunity. Wakefield, good job from Schaefer after that ball is tipped to jump in front to gain possession.
Allie Schaefer, who will play her college ball at UVA Lynchburg, pushes tempo. Nice dime to Jaya Hamilton.
Really good job moving without the basketball, and another steal from Wakefield as Bagwell is going to be out of bounds. But right now, Wakefield is getting into the paint area with dribble penetration. Here's McIntyre eluding the pressure. Then the nice pass to Hamilton.
Good steal for Sydney Conti defensively, and Wakefield pushing tempo. McIntyre on the move, and an early foul. That's on Addison Sirianni, the senior point guard, who will play her college ball in Chaminade in Hawaii next year.
It's a great place to play
ball.
Sign
us up. We'll go watch you play next year.
Hopefully we can do a game over there.
The Division II standout, Chaminade, Addison Sirianni. Not a big scorer, but a great assister for this team. Hamilton travels, and a Wakefield turnover. How do you handle the nerves in a state title game?
I think the biggest thing is they'll eventually go away. Just at the beginning here, just try to stay composed. Make sure you move the ball, and Jason Lee watching on his team, doing a better job here of getting comfortable, and the dribble penetration has allowed easy opportunities for Hamilton.
Jason Lee noted execution so big in this title. They were great defensively against Hoggard in the region, but struggled on the offensive end. Like Norman on this end, yet to get a bucket. Kelsey Ryan with pressure in her grill. Good dish. Here's Rihanna Maynard's first action, and a quick point. Rihanna Menard, who had 17 off the bench in the region final. She's a weapon.
Yeah, Menard doing a good job slashing and taking the baseline with the opening.
Good dish to Conti off on the three. Both these clubs will make about 6 threes a game. That's part of the offense. Menard throws one up. And early on, Jay, this Wakefield defense playing a factor.
They stay in front of their offensive player, moving their feet and staying low. It's so important to be connected on defense with all 5 players on the field, on the court, and Wakefield has done a nice job so far, not allowing easy opportunities for Lake Norman.
That defense on this court at the Joels would allow the Duke Blue Devils to win the ACC title. You play hard on defense, it translates to any level. As Schaefer misses the three. A Wakefield defense that only gave up 23 points in the region final. Fewest given up ever in 4A history. Now can Lake Norman find some offense with Ryan. There's a deep three. Our first one-care NC three-pointer.
Smooth from Ryan. Deep range there. Now they can set up their press.
Assisting clients' health requirements and treatments at home. Ryan hits a three. Hamilton's a bit off, and that's where Ryan's special. 73s this year.
And Mackenzie Graham, the head coach for Lake Norman, telling her team to pick up the tempo, try to get in transition.
On cue, a transition three for Samantha Sheehan.
And now this offense starting to get into a rhythm because you get that first make, and then you can set up your defense and do a good job shooting from the outside.
Now a steal for Lake Norman. Sheehan finding it. Good dime to Ryan, and the transition playing a factor.
And this is where their defense really can turn you over, and it pays off with an easy bucket out on the fast break.
We'll take the media timeout, but great work for Lake Norman here, Jay.
Yeah, that defense is starting to get into a rhythm, and it's leading to easy offense with Ryan finishing it for the 10-4 lead. 3:56 left in the first quarter.
Welcome back to the 4A state title game. Riddle Injury Lawyers presenting this NCHSAA championship matchup. Lake Norman has blown out opponents in the league, 50 points a game. How has tempo played a factor from McGrenzie Rams Club today?
They've been able to strike quickly here. Once their defensive pressure, that full court press is starting to pay off. And Mackenzie Graham does such a great job making sure her team is in the best possible position, whether it's their offensive sets or their defensive discipline, and just plays to her personnel so well.
Two alums, Graham and Lee, both playing at their respective programs. Makes for a unique final. This is the 4A highest division of girls hoops in the state. And Wakefield surrendered a 10-0 run. Can they find a solution? McIntyre, a good time. Back well underneath. Great ball movement, but a missed layup. Defensive board, Menard, and she's fouled. I don't like the offense, though, if you're Wakefield.
Yeah, the ball movement, beautiful pass from Sydney Conti, who's an excellent shooter and saw Hamilton open underneath. Here's McIntyre around over to Conti. Nice job there getting into the low post. And then Lake Norman just scrambles for the loose ball.
That's the first foul on Wakefield in this quarter, but some aggressive defense. Last touch by Allie Schaefer.
Coming out of the timeout, Jason Lee setting up his team with the full court press, trying to show a different look to Lake Norman.
Now some pressure on this inbounds. Both teams love to amplify that pressure defensively. Menard, though, has been a boost off the bench. 5 quick points for Lake Norman. Backing down, Alexis Sheehan. Ryan gets inside and is fouled on the drive. Second team foul on Wakefield.
With the threat of Ryan shooting the three-point ball, it opens up driving. Strong closeout. She went towards her left. Got the contact.
Substitutes for Wakefield. Nicole Ammon comes in, and Heaven Briggs, who's a difference maker off the bench.
She is. Both talented players for Jason Lee. A nice look there from the out of bounds, Evan.
I figured the Sheehan connection would find themselves once today.
Good chemistry between those two.
Alexis and Samantha, who still sleep in the same room 18 years later. What a nice block for Kelsey Ryan. Ryan is going to play at Navy next year. She's a big-time prospect.
Her range is special. She does so much for this team on the defensive side as she takes a break. Her and Sheehan going over the sideline. Been very productive here in the early minutes.
Traffic on the inbounds pass. Kaya Bond has entered for Lake Norman. Now Wakefield needs a bucket. They've given up 12 straight. Crafty drive and free throws here for Heaven Briggs.
For Wakefield, they need to attack the hoop, continue to be aggressive, and Briggs just splitting the double team. Sometimes you just have to force the issue to get to the free throw line.
First free throw miss. There's our Carrie Hands Whole Health free throws. Put your needs in our Carrie Hands. Well, that's a quick re-entry for Kelsey Ryan. 20 seconds out. Heaven Briggs, who anchors this pressure. Jason Lee loves the second unit because they make it really difficult. Look at Briggs in the grill right now, Menard. Briggs making life difficult. I love that effort. Ryan, the shot fake. Good dish. Sheehan in the double. Nice give and go.
Yeah, and that's a good two-man game there with the give and go. And Sheehan ready to shoot it.
A Wakefield three is off. Just 2 of 6, but the turnovers early for Wakefield. And Lake Norman taking advantage. Sheehan gets inside. Finds the shooter. Sirianni off. Rebound Wakefield.
Wakefield battling down low for that board.
McIntyre, the senior point guard, wants to find a bucket. Good pass. Inside of 2 minutes in this first quarter for the 4A state title, highest level in North Carolina. Remember, Coach Lee's offense won in the 30s in the region final. He said, that's the formula for us today. We're not going to win this game in the 70s. Briggs gets space. And an offensive foul on Wakefield.
Wakefield trying to spread the floor to create driving lanes for Heaven Briggs, and they get the offensive foul called. Right now, Lake Norman on this run because they made some defensive adjustments, and on offense, they're starting to drive a little bit more. Instead of just relying on the three-point shot, they're trying to get into the paint area and break down this defense.
Lila Bagwell, top scorer, re-enters for Wakefield, now down 9. Beautiful dish and a swat, but a foul called on Nicole Amen with the block.
Here's Ryan driving in, then Bernard down low, kind of hiding, getting that ball as Amen comes in to block it.
And Amen knew our camera director, Mark Dreyer, down there, gave her a little look. That's some confidence from the standout.
And she's a future Division I player, only a sophomore, good size, great shooter. Jason Lee loves her potential, what she's doing this year as a young player.
Lake Norman at the Caring Hands home health free throw line, going 0 of 2. Offensive board, and Wakefield collects it, but a traveling violation. That's 5 early turnovers for Wakefield.
And very, this pressure is relentless. They just have to continue to try to hold on to that ball and make sure they make good decisions with it.
Kelsey Ryan returns to Lake Norman.
Mackenzie Graham said, our best style is all gas, no brakes. We're seeing it in this first quarter.
She loves putting pressure on her opponents and really being the aggressor. That's the thing, trying to make them uncomfortable, and her schemes on the defensive end are outstanding and have caused so many problems for her opponents.
There was a turnover there for Lake Norman, stepping in bounds before passing it in. How can Wakefield take advantage? This matchup zone, a lot of double teams. Amen, good pass, and Hamilton there.
Amazing job from Wakefield, staying patient, the ball movement, the rotation, and then getting the ball inside. Amen, nice dish to Hamilton.
And that's why Wakefield gets 15 assists a game. When they're moving the ball, they're dangerous.
Yeah, Amen doing a nice job there with her eyes as Bagwell gets the steal.
2-on-1. Bagwell says, give me some more. Missing the layup. Rebound, Hamilton. Wakefield doing a much better job on the glass to end this first quarter. Kevin Briggs, who had 0 votes for the all-conference team, Jason Lee said, she makes us go. And a foul on the floor. There's the aggressive Kevin Briggs.
Briggs and McIntyre are so quick out on the perimeter, and she was reading the double team coming over. She beat it over towards the right side on the baseline.
First personal, team sport.
Here's the 3. An air ball that time. Active hands for Hamilton, running the pack. Jay into the bucket, and the senior's on the board.
It's Wakefield's defense taking over. She read the passing lane.
8 early points, final seconds. Ryan swings it. This active defense for Jason Lee's club. A missed 3 to end the back and forth first quarter. We got a 5-point game through 1. And we'll take the timeout here at Winston-Salem. The 4A state championships brought to you by Riddle and Riddle Injury Lawyers. Fun start here at the Joel. Second quarter after this. Welcome back to Winston-Salem. Here's your Oxner and Permar stats. Oxner and Permar, we make wrongs right. Early on, Lake Norman taking advantage from three.
Yeah, 3-point shooting, the only 3 turnovers. That's what's given them the 5-point lead.
How about your air experts, heating and cooling, points in the paint? Relatively even, but we've seen Wakefield late in this quarter apply pressure.
Yeah, doing a really good job getting into the paint area. Hamilton doing a nice job cutting right near the hoop, and her teammates have found her.
Well, hello, Samantha Sheehan. Right in front of us, Jay Sunhalter, Evan Budrovich. Second quarter underway, and a heavy pressure from Jason Lee's Wakefield Wolverines. Both Lake Norman and Wakefield first ever trip to a state final. Sheehan in attack mode, finds her sister. Samantha goes inside. That one's a bit off. Offensive board, Menard. Good spin underneath. Nice finish.
That's excellent work on the offensive board. Just staying relentless, and it pays off for Menard.
Menard's the 6th player of the year for Lake Norman. She does so much off the bench. At that time, she fouls the driving Wakefield player.
She's very active on offense. Nice touch from the outside. Does a lot of damage near the hoop. And on the defensive end, with her versatility and her height, she creates a lot of issues for her opponents.
Mackenzie Graham called her the missing puzzle piece, and I wanted to respond. Do you mean like Jumanji, where everything goes crazy with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson? How important is this puzzle piece tonight?
Well, I'll tell you, on the defensive end, it's about being connected. Menard's one of her top defenders, and going against this Wakefield offense, she's very important. And how about that shot from McIntyre with the ball rolling around the rim, finally goes in.
So McIntyre makes this a 5-point game. Lake Norman a double-figure lead in the first. Sirianni, not much space. Remember, no shot clock in the high school game, but a ton of pressure. And Ryan's got some range. Defensive board, McIntyre. You got to guard Ryan, too, from distance.
You have to respect that long shot from her.
Allie Schaefer breaks the pressure. 5 first-quarter turnovers for Wakefield. That was a bugaboo for Jason Lee's club. Make it 6. McIntyre just traveled.
Wolverines. Possession. Back to the Wildcats.
Two programs that have never met until this state championship matchup, which makes it even more interesting. Someone's going home with a trophy today. And there's an offensive foul. Neither team in much foul trouble so far.
Offensive foul whistle on Lake Norman's 30.
McIntyre doing a good job being physical. Gets the call. McIntyre, one of the seniors for this Wakefield program, has been such a pillar, a foundational piece. She's grown through the years and is having her best season yet for the Wolverines.
Raleigh versus Mooresville, two programs that have traveled well to this matchup. Two teams that missed the playoffs when these kids were freshmen, the senior class. What an impressive turnaround. And now McIntyre resetting, the senior point guard. This is Sydney Connie finding McIntyre. Lake Norman defending everything well right now. No space. McIntyre's got to go. Connie, deep three. From college range.
And she's got a great touch from the outside. Conti starting to get going now. That's an important piece for the offense for the Wolverines.
That's a one-care NC three-pointer. And with that type of range, that sets things up. First three for Wakefield leads to an offensive foul.
In this ball game, when you get in these state championship games, and there's so much emotion, any ball game, there's swings of momentum, and right now Wakefield has the momentum, shooting the ball from the outside, one of their specialties, and it translates over on the defensive end.
Wakefield will make 6 threes a game. If they continue this, Jay, that's dangerous.
Yeah, that's where they really get going on offense, when they see the ball going from the outside.
And Connie makes it 2.
Now 2 for 2 from Connie. She's heating up.
Wakefield living with another three-pointer. And how about this? Down 10 after the first, now up 1. And then Sheehan misses the bunny response. Rebound underneath. What has Wakefield done to flip the script here, Jay?
Well, just starting to make some shots. Their defense has been really good. Now they're gaining momentum and confidence shooting the ball.
How about 3 for 3? That one's off. Defensive board. Tipped around to Sheehan. Samantha and Alexis, the dynamic duo. And And then a push foul on Schaefer. She knocked down Kelsey Ryan.
These ball games, both teams will have their moments, but how quick can you stop the run of your opponent? Wakefield early on scored a couple buckets, but then Lake Norman surged through the first quarter. Now Wakefield's response is their shot from the outside.
A lob to Sheehan. Alexis goes glass. And here's Wakefield in transition. Evan Briggs. It's a 10-2 run for Wakefield. Briggs, the crossover, sets up Connie. Nearly a third three to board for Ryan. Now Norman wants to push the pressure. Sheehan splits two. Nice finish.
That's excellent. That's how you stop that run. You got to be aggressive and attack the hoop.
Alexis and Samantha, who will both play at Kentucky Wesleyan next year. What a fun story of sisters battling together. As Bagwell misses the three. Defensive board for Bonacani, the point guard. Working inside to Alexis Sheehan all day. That time she's off. Samantha the board, cleaning up her sister.
The offensive glass, so important. Paying off for the Wildcats. Sheehan knocking it in.
And Lake Norman gets 10 offensive boards a game. That's their special, attacking the glass. McIntyre wants an island, pulls the jumper. That's off with defensive board. Mackenzie's Graham team not afraid to push tempo. What a swat by McIntyre. Hello and welcome to the Joels. We'll take this time out. Our 4A state title, North Carolina High School Athletic Association, brought to you by Riddle & Riddle Injury Lawyers. A tight three-point game late in the second.
The broadcast stream of these championship games is brought to you by West Shore Home.
Welcome back to Joel Coliseum. Here's our fan cam, Original Grills. On Original Grills fan cam, elevate your grill game. Elevate the students in the house today from Wakefield.
They see it. They're ready for it.
Yeah, Joel Coliseum has been rocking all day. Buses coming from the Wakefield area. Lake Norman, just an hour away, bringing a ton of fans as well. And anytime you're on local TV, get ready.
They'll be ready for the camera. They see it. Now, great crowd here today. The atmosphere for these athletes. This is what makes high school basketball and high school athletics so great, is having the community support and playing for your family and friends.
Two programs, each about an hour and a half from Winston-Salem. Regional finals this week, both clubs upsetting one seeds in their region. And coming up, we'll have a NC halftime report, special interview with Q Tucker, the commissioner of the conference. First half highlights and more. Talk it out, North Carolina. Start the conversation. Stop underage drinking. What do you want to see from both teams here late in the quarter, Jay?
Well, I'll tell you, I just love the way they're competing. First of all, it's been a fun ball game. I think to close out, I think for Lake Norman, you want to try to get the ball inside. That's where they've had success.
Menard, the O board. Bond back up, and that's the second effort Lake Norman's limit on.
And that's where they're gaining advantage on the offensive glass and shooting those close-range shots. And then that sets up their defensive pressure when you get a make. And for Wakefield, just continue to stay patient, use your ball rotation, trust your shooters. We'll make those three-pointers.
Lila Bagwell beats the press. Great dish to McIntyre. The vision tremendous.
This is outstanding team basketball. Unselfish division, and then a perfect pass for McIntyre to catch and then shoot. 6
assists for Wakefield. If they're moving the ball like this, that's a dangerous offense. Bond does the same, finds Sheehan. That's way off. Her sister, the board, back-to-back times they're helping each other.
Yeah, no box out down low. You've got to put a body on Sheehan. She's really good at reading the ball off the rim.
And then it's like, Mike, you got to put them on both Sheehans, Alexis and Samantha. The sister duo playing Kentucky Wesleyan next year. Lake Norman daring Wakefield to shoot these deep threes. And they've made 2 of them so far.
For Wakefield, they've been reading this defensive pressure. When the ball goes to the side, double team comes over from the Wildcats.
McIntyre spins, that's short. Offensive rebound. What a pesky defender. And a steal for Bond. Throws it ahead. Samantha coast to coast. Nice layup.
Great focus from Sheehan to finish that off on the run. And here's the pressure from the Wildcats. Mackenzie Graham's defense leading the charge, jumping from the passing lane, and then keeping the eyes up to find Sheehan. There's Samantha with the finish.
Our nominee for West Shore Home Play of the Game. Tremendous transition play.
As the official regional and championship merchandiser.
Not only will we have our Play of the Game coming up at halftime, we'll have our Riddle and Riddle Player of the Game coming up. Riddle and Riddle when justice counts at our West Shore Home Play of the Game. Nice run for Wakefield late in the quarter, but Lake Norman forcing turnovers to get back up 6.
Yeah, the defense is leading in the buckets, and Jason Lee doing a good job recognizing his team needs a break, brings them over to the sideline to make some adjustments. And Mackenzie Graham and her team on a run right now because of those double teams, reading the passing lanes, getting steals, and also, Evan, the offensive glass has been huge for her ball club. Jason Lee with his team. 1:34 left in the half. It's going to be important for his 5 out on the floor, trying to gain some momentum going into the break.
A 4A bracket that's been dominated by the eastern side the last 2 years. Rollsville, Panther Creek, reigning champs of 4A hoops, highest level in North Carolina here on the women's side. A 7-point game late in the first half as top scorer Madison McIntyre breaks the press. Good ball movement and an airball 3. Sheehan keeping that pivot foot. Lake Norman's avoided the turnovers today. Kaya Bond has it, final minute of his first half. Excellent defense from Wakefield. Sheehan lets it go. That's short. And a defensive board for Hamilton.
Good defense and box out to get the board.
Wakefield breaks the pressure. And Bagwell traveled on the catch. So you see Norman speeding up Wakefield this first half.
Well, and that's the goal. Sometimes you're not going to get a turnover every time. It's just about speeding up the pace.
Coach Graham goes to her bench. Addison Sirianni returns, starting point guard. And Sirianni, who had 7 assists in the region final against top-ranked McDowell, works with him. Lake Norman wants this game in the 70s. Wakefield wants it in the 40s. The offense cooking early, and that 3 a bit off. Defensive board for Bagwell. More pressure. Nearly a 10-second violation. Nice pursuit from McIntyre. Sets up Almond, and she has it.
Outstanding job from McIntyre with her quickness to find Ahmed, and then the finish around the hoop. Such good touch.
Sirianni with 4. Running out of time. 3 at the horn is off. And a tight one through 16 minutes. Coming up, we'll have our Talk It Out NC halftime report. Interviews with Q Tucker, the commissioner of the association. Highlights and much more. Talk It Out North Carolina. Start the conversation. Stop underage drinking. Entertaining first 2 quarters here at the Joel.
Back and forth. Each team doing a good job on the defensive side. Wakefield had a big run in the second quarter with their outside shooting, Evan. It really got going to Lake Norman getting back into it, the 5-point lead because of their defense and fast break opportunities.
This broadcast brought to you by Riddle and Riddle Injury Lawyers, gearing up for the second half. Mackenzie Graham's club, double-digit lead early. Wakefield led by Jason Lee, good comeback late. But Lake Norman living on that pressure and transition defense so far.
This game's going to be there for the taking in the second half. Which team can control the pace, limit their turnovers, win the rebound margin in the first half, +3 for Lake Norman on the boards and the turnover margin. And Jason Lee and his team, they've got great three-point shooters. That's where they want to attack, get one to fall through, and they can get hot very quickly. And this is a group on the defensive end, though. They made their mark with their pressure as well.
The Sheehan sisters, 15 combined points. And Jaya Hamilton doing the work for Wakefield. She's got 8 in that first half. And with that, let's get the second half rolling here at Joel Coliseum. One of the 4A and 2A state title games today. Opening possession for Maddie McIntyre. Good dish. Leads to a 3. Nice look out of the timeout. An offensive board. That's what Wakefield was so impressive. 5 boards in that first half.
Just being relentless on the glass, attacking, and refusing to give up. It paid dividends. They've got to continue that in the second half.
So Bagwell attacks and one early in the third.
Well, and we highlighted Bagwell in the open because of her versatility. She is so fundamentally sound. And here, little fake head nod, and then she drives in, beats the defense, and finishes through contact.
The junior guard, over 10 points a game, and Coach Lee said she does everything for us. We need her to be special today.
She's a catalyst on both ends of the floor, and that's good for her to be aggressive early on here in the third quarter.
That was the South College free throw line. South College where dreams find direction. Speaking of direction, a foul here for Sheehan. So Alexis heads to the free throw line.
And with Ryan's shooting ability, it brings the defender deep on the perimeter, which opens up the low block for Sheehan.
Back to that South College free throw line. And this is where Lake Norman's been really good. 70% as a team from the free throw line.
They make the most of their opportunities. They get to the line a lot, and then they capitalize.
Alexis makes both. It's a 5-point Lake Norman lead. Jason Lee's team, 18 straight wins, a program when these seniors were freshmen. Missed the playoffs. What a transformation in 3 years. And a jump ball changes possession.
Jump ball, possession. Back to Lake Norman.
Double teams. We're there in the first half. Lake Norman, there's Ryan coming over. Bonaconti as well, forcing the jump ball.
Active hands from Addison Sirianni to keep the basketball. Lake Norman rolled through the state finals until the region final against top seed McDowell. That was a 5-point game. And Ryan was fantastic. That time she turns it over thanks to some active defense.
Wakefield being very physical. Lindsey Graham team had that 5-point lead at the halftime break. I think the message to her team was continue to try to go down low, pick up the pressure on defense.
Good ball movement out of this press. Of course, 9 first half turnovers for Wakefield. Nicole Ahman swings it up top. Jason Lee, the Wakefield alum, resets his offense. Double on McIntyre. No problem. That shot had been affected. Bagwell the board. Nice pursuit.
And it starts with McIntyre getting in there, getting the shot up, and then no box out. Bagwell recognizing it, reading it off the rim.
In the first half, it was Lake Norman living on the glass. Here in the second, but first a traveling violation on the Sheehan 3. That second chance buckets, though, are huge for Wakefield.
There's got to be more boxing out from the Wildcats. Here's McIntyre forcing her way in, puts a shot up, the ball tips around, and then Bagwell, the right place. Again, heady player, does everything for her team. That's a big bucket there to get it within 3.
Jason Lee referred to Lila as the engine that makes this team run. Well, I hope it's a Ford F-150 because they're rolling with some confidence here in Winston-Salem. A double team leads to a steal. Sirianni takes it away. Numbers for Lake Norman. Ryan finds the super sub Menard, who goes lefty, and aware miss. Bagwell pushing tempo. Bagwell to the bucket. Back-to-back layup.
She's taken over now. The third quarter has been hers. Looking for her shot and creating and attacking.
In a game where jump shots have been hard to come by, how important is that attacking to the bucket?
It is. If the outside shot isn't falling, you've got to go down low. Try to take easier, high percentage shots to get going.
Here's a reach-in foul on Amen. And that's her third foul. So Jason Lee has some decisions early in this third quarter.
Bagwell, so athletic, reads, and then says, hey, I'll take it all the way. Nobody stops the ball. She can create off the dribble.
A lead as big as 12, now down to 1 midway through this third quarter. Menard, great dish. Ryan the step back, that's off. Offensive board, and once again, Sheehan living on the glass.
She just reads it so well. Kind of found a crease to get on that glass and get another board.
That'll stay here as Alexis has 10 points. Samantha has 9. It's been the Sheehan show today.
They've really complemented each other well. And Wakefield trying to extend their pressure on Ryan, who's such a talented three-point shooter. And down low, there has been opportunities.
The hometown Mooresville sister duo, they've been fantastic. Alexis and Samantha, who will each play at Kentucky Wesleyan next year. McIntyre resets. Remember, Wakefield will make 6 threes a game. Today they have just 2. Briggs gets inside. Great drive. No contact. And then a foul on Briggs reaching in late.
Wakefield foul charge to
You know what, for
5.
Wakefield, though, you want those attacking plays, ones where you're going towards the hoop. That one doesn't fall, but you're either going to get all the way to the hoop or you can drive and kick it out to your three-point shooters. The double teams and the pressure is collapsing. That's going to create opportunities if you continue with that same game.
Kelsey Ryan is bleeding, so the trainers will come out for a quick look. Nothing a little kinesio tape won't fix. Thanks to our tremendous athletic trainers at both programs helping out. Because I don't see Kelsey coming out of this game.
Right back on the floor. Junior committed to Navy. Got a bright future ahead.
Coach Graham said she has it in her veins. She has the leadership, the toughness. Nothing's going to slow down Ryan in the state title game. Look at the active hands here. McIntyre forcing a turnover. And she's feeling herself right now.
McIntyre is the lead on the defensive end. The way she moves her feet with her quickness, she's a college prospect. Look how low she stays. So difficult to get around her, and she used the sideline as an extra defender.
McIntyre part of a 9-player senior class here for Wakefield. A total transformation the last 3 years. Nice give and go to Schaefer. Back inside, but a travel.
Violation. Wolverines possession. Back to the right back.
Neither team able to create much separation in this third quarter. McIntyre is a pest in the grill of Ryan. A quick steal. Ahmed runs the break. Finds Conti. And Lake Norman is swarming the three-point line.
Yeah, they really reacted well.
Until that three ties it.
Now that's the shooter. Allie Schaefer committed to Lynchburg. Great range. She had a clean look. That's her first 3 of the game.
That's an Arcare NC3 and a timeout in a tie game. Wakefield coming to life from deep. And we'll take the timeout. 30 apiece here in the third. Both Wakefield and Lake Norman, neither have won a state title. Somebody's bringing home a championship after this timeout. Coming up in the fourth, stay tuned for the West Shore home play of the game. That'll be dynamic in the next quarter, along with the Riddle and Riddle Injury Lawyers player of the game. Riddle and Riddle, when justice counts. And Jay, right now in a tie game, I couldn't tell you who the player of the game is.
We've got a lot of players that are in contention, but it's going to come down to, I think, the fourth quarter, who's going to really create separation, who will hit the big shots. And I think for both coaches, Evan, Jason Lee, Mackenzie Graham, they're pleased with their effort. They're pleased with a lot of things their teams are showing out on the floor, the three-point shooting, the toughness, the boxing out. But it's going to be the little things here, those critical turnovers, those boards, who can get hot from the outside. That's going to determine who wins the game. Both teams are very similar.
Good give and go out of the timeout, and Ryan airballs the jumper. That's a rare miss for the Navy commit. Talking to Coach Graham about Kelsey Ryan this week. She said not only is she a gamer, she absorbs the pressure of being one of the best teams in the state. She plays so well through this offense.
She loves this stage. Mackenzie Graham has such a close relationship with Ryan. And I'll tell you, Evan, I've been so impressed by both coaches, the way they've used their timeouts and the adjustments they've made coming out of those breaks to help their teams.
A lead as big as 12 for Lake Norman. It's now dead even. And a foul on the drive sends Lila Bagwell to the free throw line.
Bagwell's gotten hot here in the third quarter, using the dribble penetration. And they're just refusing to back down to get to the line.
First foul for Bond. Here's Bagwell at the line. And the first lead for Wakefield since it was 2-0 in the first minutes at the South College free throw line. South College, where dreams find direction. What's been the direction here for Wakefield this third quarter?
I think just staying in it, staying confident, and then relying on the defense. And when the outside shot hasn't fallen, they've had a game plan for that, Evan, where they've driven in.
Lake Norman's won 21 straight games. They're now trailing late in the third quarter. A rarity for this Lake Norman program. Sirianni gets a switch. Ryan kicks it. Good back down, Sheehan. That one rattles out. A scrum for the boards. And the possession goes to Wakefield. McIntyre's rebound has been excellent too.
And she is so physical, quick, tough. She plays point guard, and she can go battle down low too. Look at 22 right here. Getting that ball. There's contact. Maintain possession.
Here comes the pressure for Lake Norman. They force 10 first half turnovers. Ryan gets another. And Mackenzie Graham pushing all the right buttons. That is on the floor. In the college game, that's an and one. In the high school game, that's a floor foul.
But you're right, though, about Coach Graham. Mackenzie Graham showing a different look coming out of the break.
Oh, yeah, in a couple years at Navy, that's an and one. But here at the high school level, that's an on-the-floor foul. Working inside.
It's a good call, though. That's a great job there, seeing it and making sure it's out of bounds.
Look at Bond with the active hands. A steal for Sheehan. She goes up, and Lake Norman leads.
Well, Wakefield's got to come back and help with the pressure they're facing.
Two programs that have never won a state title are in a one-point game. 2 minutes to go in the third. Hamilton attacks. Nice spin. Kicks it. Conti three is off. Rebound to Ryan in this fast break attack. Sirianni, what a dish. Sheehan patient, no good. Bond the board, and this is where Lake Norman's living on the glass.
And this is where they're going on their mini run. Those loose balls, the offensive glass, winning down low.
It's those second chance plays that can win you a state title. McIntyre's been a rebounding machine, now operates. Great spin. Connie kicks it. Lake Norman attacking the three-point line. And here's a foul on Kaya Bond. That's her second.
And Wakefield staying patient, not forcing any shots, and then they keep the spacing, making it difficult on this defense. When you've got to work as a defender for 15, 20 seconds on that end of the floor. The ball keeps moving. It makes it difficult. McIntyre found a lane where she could get contact to get the foul called.
To your point, no shot clock in North Carolina High School, so it is a grinded out possession. Briggs travels that time. A little bit of contact, and Briggs turns it over.
And Lake Norman sitting back and then jumping on with their double teams. As Briggs comes up, there's the double team sitting there with Sheehan waiting for Briggs. And
a slip and slide that I would enjoy at home, but doesn't work in the game of basketball. It's been so warm in North Carolina.
I know.
I've seen families around the state.
We've had that weather this week.
With hoses and slip and slides for their kids. Final minute of this third quarter. Good pressure on Sirianni. McIntyre in her grill. Ryan avoids it. Ryan says, give me the rock, and here's a steal. Briggs with numbers. Up ahead to Ahmed.
Good job by Briggs and Ahmed pulling the ball back out. They could have forced it there very wisely. As the defense got back, they bring it out so they can set up.
Pick and pop. What an attack. Layup no good. Defensive board, Alexis Sheehan, who is then fouled. Jason Lee thought he had a turnover. Instead, a foul.
Wolverines foul charged to number 5, Heaven Briggs. That's her third.
Briggs breaking down the defense as Lake Norman gets this ball, hustles back.
For the last 21 seconds.
Now with the foul situation, it's the bonus here for Sheehan at the South College free throw line. South College, where dreams find direction. Jason Lee, who was a guard himself at Wakefield as a player, played at Fayetteville State, multiple other stops, and he's coaching up his alma mater in this tight third quarter. Look at this pressure from Lake Norman. Coach Grant amping it up defensively. McIntyre the solution. Hamilton the transition layup.
What a job from McIntyre, breaking down the defense, and Hamilton finding space.
Sheehan with 2. That shot is blocked to end the third quarter. And we're 8 minutes away from deciding the 4A state champion.
Now this game has gone back and forth. Wakefield has taken over in the third quarter, and Lake Norman has made the most of their opportunities. The Wildcats sitting with a 2-point lead heading into the fourth.
Welcome back to Joel Coliseum. Here's the Oxner and Permar stats through 3 quarters. Oxner and Permar, we make wrongs right.
Lake Norman has 10 more shot attempts than the Wolverines. The Wildcats also +3 on the boards and with the turnover margin. Wakefield, the three-pointers, 3 made, only 2 for the Wildcats.
And the points in the paint from Air Express. Schedule your tune-up today at airexpress.com. Championship game, 4A state title, highest level of North Carolina women's hoops. Kelsey Ryan, step back 3. Way off. Offensive board, though. Bond got a hand on it. Lake Norman, 10 offensive rebounds. They're living on the glass. Bonaconti. That dish is stolen away. McIntyre's been the difference maker for Wakefield. Briggs swings it, and another steal. Loose scrum. Lake Norman has it. Sirianni up ahead. Bond throws inside. And Jay, how do these teams handle the tempo in this fourth quarter?
Well, I think it's just about, as the ball's still on the floor, just got to protect it, make quick decisions, and be secure.
It is an absolute scrum, like the state fair here at the Joel. Briggs' turn. That pass is stolen. Another chance for Ahmed, who misses. Back and forth here in the fourth.
I think both teams just trying to make plays, and you love the effort. Just to find a way to slow down and stay patient.
And Bond draws the foul, so all the helter-skelter and free throws here for Lake Norman.
Wolverines foul charge to number 10.
Two programs that have each won 18 or more straight games. They're not used to losing. And it's a battle here with 6 minutes left.
Dominant seasons. It's all going to come down to the final 6:45 left here in the fourth quarter on this stage. Jason Lee, Mackenzie Graham, what a job they've done in making sure during that final timeout, going into the fourth quarter, making sure their team knows their keys as they finish this out.
It's the Caring Hands Home Health free throw line. Put your needs in our Caring Hands. Lake Norman 2 for 2 from the line. This Lake Norman pressures some of the best in the state. 19 steals a game. Here's a 3. That's way off. Offensive board, Hamilton. And a chance for Schaefer to reset.
The offensive glass has been good to both teams.
McIntyre spins, but traveled on the pass. That's 15 Wakefield turnovers.
After Lake Norman, Evan Briggs returns to the Wolverines lineup.
As McIntyre drives in, the defensive pressure comes over.
The timeout on the
Lake
floor.
Norman gets the call.
For blood.
Rihanna Menard will be treated by the athletic trainer. Coach Graham said, thanks for having my players back. Yeah, a little bloody nose. Think we're going to be okay.
Talked with the training staff as well as the coaches for Lake Norman, and such a great group here to support these players, and Mackenzie Graham, and I wanted her team to come out and have fun today and compete at the highest level.
Mooresville versus Raleigh for the state title. And it's a game of who can handle the pressure best. Rihanna Menard, fresh off the bloody nose, goes to the bucket. Another loose scrum, rebound Ryan, and she's fouled. It's the second foul of the quarter for Wakefield.
Every loose ball so important, and the competitive nature that you're watching. This is the highest level, the biggest game for these players, and they are scrapping.
Taking another foul, and here's Menard making a difference off the bench.
She is. And her ability to drive puts so much pressure on this defense.
And this Wolverines foul charge to number
Gets the
3.
ball on the baseline. She takes it down low, and at that point, you just got to be physical to try to block the shot.
Menard at the line.
So Nicole Ahmed now has 4 fouls. She'll have to exit after the Caring Hands Home Health free throw. How about that? Jason Lee leaning on his forward. She's going to stay in the game with those fouls.
Trusting his players.
Menard, who scored 17 in the region final earlier this week, goes 1-1. And now Wakefield, who's yet to score in this fourth, tries to break pressure. McIntyre, good dribble. McIntyre is tripped and fouled. And if that's on Ryan, it's her second. It is.
Bobcat style charge to number 5.
For Wakefield, they've got to continue to come back and help out their dribblers. There's 4 Lake Norman defenders in that area. Good job by McIntyre breaking the pressure.
McIntyre backs down. Hamilton, a bit off. What an effort, but out of bounds. Nice effort from Bonaconti. She's known as Coco, and for good reason.
Well, the effort has been at the highest level today.
Coco strumming his guitar. That's a great move if you get a chance to watch it. Jason Halter, Evan Budrovich, a 4A state title on the line. Ahmed inside. Open 3. Wakefield just can't buy a triple in this second half. A chance for Sirianni to reset. Lake Norman scores 75 a game. This has been a defensive battle tonight, and a turnover gives it right back.
Sydney Conti back on the floor for Wakefield.
And for Wakefield, again, they have to expect pressure. All their players going on one end of the court need to continue to keep their eyes up. Here comes the double team.
Bagwell pressured. There's no space and a timeout called.
Wolverines.
Great timeout. Jason Lee recognizing the pressure. He's going to bring his team over. On top of that, how are we going to break the press, and how are we going to score here?
It's when we all play, we all win. Gatorade is committed to giving.
How about a look at our fans for today's game on our Original Grills fan cam? Elevate your grill game. There's a couple of stories going on here. One fan's looking up updates of the state championship, and Lake Norman fans know they're up 5 with 5 minutes to go.
The protein on your plate, soy wins.
Don't tell the Wakefield cheerleaders they're down 5.
North Carolina Soybean Producers Association.
Coming up next, we'll have the 4A men's state title right around the corner. New Hanover and North Mecklenburg, a rematch of last year's championship. With the 4A women's title on the line, last 5 minutes. Bagwell gets a pick. Goes baseline. What a swat by Bond. A human eraser. Lake Norman's defense amping up late in the third. And good hands from McIntyre on that end.
Big possession for the Wildcats. They have a 5-point lead. I would expect them to use some of the clock. If you can get a bucket here to stretch this lead out, they're going to feel comfortable with the way they're playing defense.
Alexis Sheehan re-enters for Lake Norman. Nothing has come easy in this fourth and final quarter. A lot of contact. Refs let them play. Bonaconti runs a new play. How about that? Bonaconti guarded by Connie. You couldn't have drawn it up in a tighter game here in the fourth. Sirianni works away from pressure.
Lake Norman trying to use as much time as possible. No rush to shoot it.
A full minute of active defense. No shot clocks here in North Carolina State Championships. And a foul on Connie. Leads us to our media timeout. Under 4 to play. Lake Norman, 4 minutes from a state title. We'll come back and decide it here at Joel Coliseum. Welcome back to the NCHSAA 4A state title game presented by Riddle & Riddle Injury Lawyers. These are two of the best 4A teams in the state, and the Wakefield Wolverines out of the Raleigh area. By the way, special shout out to Chad Lampman, who's the athletic club booster president. He's working at Duke University today, but he says hello. A Lake Norman program that's never won a state title, but reached the championship 2 years ago, falling to Panther Creek. And here's Lake Norman up 5 with 4 minutes to play.
For the Wildcats, about protecting the basketball. Good job using time off the clock as Wakefield's playing tough defense.
Remember, no shot clock in this game, so Lake Norman can work it as long as they need. A Wakefield team that lives defensively. Can they force a mistake? There's the mistake and a turnover.
And Wakefield was trusting, even though time was wearing down, that their tough defense would force an eventual turnover. They get that turnover still, 3:35, obviously plenty of time here. But you get the ball back, but you have to execute on offense.
Kaya Bond re-enters for Lake Norman on this end. And a Wakefield team that's 3 of 16 from deep. They love it, but here's the turnover. Menard runs the break and is stripped. Hard foul. And free throws coming up.
Menard has been great on defense. She reads the pass, gets in the lane, and then instead of pulling the ball out, says, I'm going to go all the way. Now she'll get to the line with the 5-point lead and opportunity to tack on a couple more.
Menard 1 of 4 from the free throw line today. They get 1 of 5 from the carry hands line. That keeps this game really close.
Now important to box out for the Wolverines as Menard tries to get one.
There's 1 and 2. Wakefield's first final appearance in program history. They had the lead in the third, but have yet to score in this fourth quarter. Here's a chance for 3. That's off. Rebound Ryan. Ryan breaks the press with Sheehan.
That's a good shot for Wakefield. This doesn't fall, but a good possession, and now you have to turn up the pressure on defense.
A lot of contact in the last 3 minutes. Menard goes inside. Missed the bunny. Hamilton shovels it out. Bagwell with numbers. Sheehan couldn't find Conti. Conti's begging for the rock. And a steal. Rayana Menard making things happen. Transition layup.
Outstanding work. Her defense is paying dividends. What a job with the steal.
McIntyre goes inside. There's the solution.
There it is.
Timeout, Wakefield.
And both teams, here recognizing inside of 2.5 minutes, it's go time. Menard gets a huge steal, and what a job, Evan.
It's our nominee for West Shore home play of the game in transition.
Wakefield will take a full timeout.
Menard making such an impact here in the fourth. And that defense that Mackenzie Graham employs, whether it's the double teams, the full court press, or just one-on-one situations, it resulted in an easy bucket to make it a 6-point lead. And for both teams right now, it's an opportunity. You played so hard, got a little break to finish out this game strong. And for the Wildcats, protecting the ball is huge, using time off the clock, make your free throws. And for Wakefield, only a 6-point deficit. The way they can shoot the 3-point ball today, it's been tough shooting, but this is a team that's one of the best in the state. They have confidence, whether it's the long 3-pointers or driving in. You just have to be quick on offense and make good decisions.
A Lake Norman program under Mackenzie Graham. They have excelled the last 3 years, 20-plus wins in all those seasons. Beat a really good Watauga team with the Gatorade Player of the Year in the semifinals, and then upset McDowell in the region. It's been a star-studded run here for Lake Norman.
Just impressed with both coaches and what they have done, all the goals that they've reached and accomplished this season to get to this point.
Final 2 minutes to decide this 4A champion. Active hands for Bagwell, and that goes back to Lake Norman. Lake Norman's in the bonus, so it's free throws the rest of the game.
Madison Conti back on the floor for the Wildcats.
Sirianni breaks the heavy pressure of Briggs. Briggs is shuffling like her life depends on it defensively. There's Briggs making it happen with a steal. The instigator swings it. Open player. Ahmed takes her time and misses. Loose ball, Briggs. Ahmed again. That one's short. And somehow Lake Norman got the rebound. And here's a timeout for Lake Norman.
Calls timeout.
Just 2 points in the fourth for Wakefield and a couple of good looks.
To be full timeout for Lake Norman.
You see this Wakefield team rallying around Ahmed, trying to keep her invested in these final minutes.
Yeah, right now, both teams going over to the side, and Jason Lee right now telling his team, hey, we've got time. We just have to execute. Everybody, let's come out. Let's get a steal on defense. Turn it into offense. Let's try to get this quick possession back our way. Again, just telling his team, we can do this. Mackenzie Graham doing a good job utilizing her timeouts. Still has a couple left, but recognizing after they got the board with the lead, she needs to bring her team over, talk about how they're going to face the pressure that's going to come from Wakefield, and then talking to her team about protecting the ball, communicating, and then making free throws if you get fouled.
It's a Lake Norman program who made this final 2 years ago, and Kirsten Edwards was the star of that team. She's now at Buffalo at the Division I level. Tonight it's been the Sheehan sisters, and down the stretch for Lake Norman, some big plays from Menard.
Menard's defense has been the difference in the fourth. And that's what's enabled them to get a couple steals, a couple buckets, but also just make it difficult on the Wolverines trying to score.
More pressure from Wakefield on the inbound. There's the steal. Still plenty of time, down 6. Briggs gets a pick. And works it. Open 3. Bagwell needed that one.
Huge 3 from Bagwell, stepping up now. One possession game completely changes the complexion. You don't have to foul. Continue to play good defense here and put pressure on the Wildcats.
A lot of contact and a steal for Wakefield. Final minute, timeout Wakefield.
Jason Lee is going to bring his team over. Great shot from Bagwell. A couple substitutions coming in for the Wolverines, but how quick it can change when you knock down a three-pointer. Great job, Briggs driving in. The defense collapses. Bagwell was ready for it. Drains it.
And then leading to great defense here.
Over on this side, Hamilton with Ahmed.
It's a friendly fire, but Ahmed will take it.
I mean, back-to-back plays where the Wolverines come out of the timeout and they execute on offense and defense. And for Jason Lee and this Wakefield Wolverines team, you see the fans standing up here for the final minute. You don't have to shoot a 3. You can still shoot a 2, but I'll tell you what, the way you've been driving in, you drive and kick, your three-point shooters should have an opportunity with the defense collapsing, trying to stop ball. So if it's there, go ahead, shoot the 3. But if not, you can shoot the 2 here. Still plenty of time.
Wakefield's made 4 threes today. That sparked the comeback here in the fourth. And it's Wakefield basketball. The Wolverines have won 18 straight. Remember, this freshman class missed the playoffs. A second and a third round exit the last 2 years, and now a state title berth. There's some confusion, but it is Wakefield basketball with 58 seconds left. McIntyre has it. Schaefer, pick and pop. Bagwell attacks. Inside of 40 seconds. McIntyre kicks it. Bagwell 3. Tie game.
Stepping up in the biggest moments. Bagwell back-to-back threes.
41 a pop and a timeout after the one-care NC triple. What a fourth quarter for Lila Bagwell.
It's in pressure moments, wanting the big shot, creating opportunities off the dribble, getting the ball back to Bagwell, and you can see the momentum shift, how quick it can happen. And Briggs, excellent work driving in. Bagwell ready to shoot that one. That got it within 3. Then this one, defender right in her face, it doesn't matter.
63s this year for Lila Bagwell, none bigger than back-to-back.
Having pressure moments. The game's not over yet. 19.6 left, maybe in overtime, and possession by possession. You have to stay focused. You have to win that possession. This is what you practice all season long for. And both of these teams, they've blown out so many opponents because they've been so dominant. And they knew today would be a test. It's all about, especially late here, staying composed and making good decisions. Jason Lee and his team has the momentum right now. They do not have the ball, and Lake Norman is in the bonus, so you do not want to foul in this situation if you're the Wolverines. Play good, clean defense. If I'm Lake Norman, I am driving, attacking, trying to put pressure on the defense to either get to the line or get all the way to the hoop. But I'm going to try to use this time, shoot with about 3 or 4 seconds, or if you have a miss, you can get the offensive board.
6-point swing for Wakefield. Tie game here on the 4A title. Ryan the catch. The Navy commit with the basketball. Final 10 seconds. Menard gets in. Sirianni, no. Ryan pass. Menard gets the lead. Timeout. And that's it. Lake Norman wins it. Rihanna Menard, first state championship for the Wildcats.
Well, it's just an amazing game. And here at the end, the West Shore home play of the game. What a pass from Sheehan to Menard. Excellent job. High post, and then Menard attacking. She's been a star here today, and they finish it off, Evan, as the time says 0. Menard makes that layup, and what a victory, the first state championship for this women's program at Lake Norman, and what a game for Jason Lee and his Wakefield team. You just feel for the Wolverines. They played so hard. What a job from Wakefield, and Lake Norman made the play here at the end to win it all.
Time now for our Riddle and Riddle player of the game. And Alexis Sheehan with her sister, Samantha, getting the job done. Alexis was fantastic. 13 points, 3 big assists. And Lake Norman, who had given up 8 straight to tie it, Rihanna Menard, the bench specialist, puts Lake Norman in front, and their first ever state title for the prideful Wildcats out of Mooresville. What an emotional moment, what a fun bucket. Wakefield gave their very best. And Wakefield had no timeouts left. That's the difference in this game. Despite the great effort from Lila Bagwell and her teammates. You see Lila giving every bit of emotion.
Ladies and gentlemen,
and the state championship coach, Mackenzie Graham, ready to rock and roll down with Jay Sudhalter. Jay, take it away.
Presenting the awards for this game will be NCHSAA representatives. Commissioner Q.
Coach, that was amazing. Your team at the end showed so much composure, especially when Wakefield got momentum. You guys found a way.
We did find a way. That's what we've worked on all year. We knew that they were going to make runs. We knew that they had some unbelievable shooters, and we tried to give it away a couple times. But we've been battle-tested. We've been in that position before. And, man, what execution of the play that we called at the end of the game, and we finally got one.
That was a special performance from both teams.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that was one of the best games I've seen in a long time.
Yeah.
You must be so proud of the way your team fought and found a way.
Like I said, we'll always find a way. These kids believe in me. I believe in them. I trust them to do anything they want to do. But again, they give me some gray hair in some situations. But that's the type of game that you won the state championship. Wakefield, what an unbelievable team, unbelievable coach. Having 9 seniors and the way that they were really able to battle back, that's a testament to a really, really, really good program.
Yeah, and credit to Wakefield and your team. You put on an awesome performance, and winning a state championship changes the program. It changes you. It's such a big impact. What does this game, this victory mean?
I'm not sure yet. No one at Lake Norman in the girls program has ever done it before. So I'm not really sure what it entails. I'm sure it's going to be not a whole lot of sleep, a lot of celebration, and something that, we've known that Lake Norman's been on the map for a little while as far as the program, but like you said, this just kind of escalates it up and makes it what I would say a powerhouse.
Well, congratulations to your team and to Wakefield. That was awesome to watch, and you bring home your first state championship. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, Jay. We're going to take the timeout and come back for the trophy presentation here in Winston-Salem.